welcome to an episode that I'm very excited to be recording. This is on one of the specialist games that came out not that long ago and has been something that, whilst I've not played many games of, it's something that I'm very, very fond of due to the nature of what it actually is. Now, some of you may have played it, some of you may be looking at playing it, some of you maybe aren't even interested, but this week I am very excited to be talking about the Adeptus Titanicus, the specialist game, but also my collection of Titans for Adeptus Titanicus, and also my collection of Titans again. We've already done a podcast episode on it, but this time I'm going to talk a little bit about how that's developed, where it came from, a little bit more of the background of why I chose to change what I was originally doing, because I mentioned it in my last podcast episode on the Titans. I originally chose something and then swapped, so it's going to be nice to go into details about that as well. Now, obviously, there's a lot to get through here, so I'm not going to dilly-dally. I'm going to start talking straight away, and I'm going to start talking about the history of my Titan collection. Okay, now, originally I chose Legio Ulricon purely due to the fact that I was doing Night Lords at the time for Horus Heresy, and Legio Ulricon is the Night Lord's most closest Titan ally from the Dark Mechanicum. It was a traitor Titan Legion that basically followed the War Master into the service of sort of chaos, and they fought alongside the Night Lords throughout the Thramus Crusade, and the Dark Angels actually basically drew, from what I understand it, they drew the Legio Ulricon into orbit around a planet that the Dark Angels were hiding on the far side of, where they basically ambushed them and destroyed all of their ships, including the flagship, and it meant that Legio Ulricon's Titans were sort of left in space, that were just floating, destroyed through space and into the void and stuff. So yeah, it was a really cool story, you know, and it meant that as I was collecting the Titans at the time, and I only had sort of one or two Titans, it was sort of like, well, these ones might have survived somehow, or these ones might have maybe managed to be on a different planet doing another crusade or something. So it allowed for me to play a little bit to that sort of ambiguity as to where things were. Now, there are also some parts of how do I say this? So I wasn't wanting to convert, let's say. I wasn't wanting to convert my Titan. Morilet Ad Mortem, I named it, the first Warlord. And I called that one Morilet Ad Mortem because, translated, that stands and means that the Emperor of Death. You know, it's the closest thing I'm ever going to get to an Emperor Titan, an Emperor class Titan. So, you know, I wanted something that, you know, it sort of had a name that would put fear and instill fear in the hearts of my enemies, kind of thing. So the Emperor of Death, you know, and I thought it was fitting for a traitor Titan, you know, because that's what they were originally. They weren't Chaos Titans, they were traitor Titans, because it meant that I could not have to convert, okay, and say that they're fresh converts, or they'd not gone through sort of a Chaos Transfiguration or anything like that. Now, I played a couple of games with the Warlord Titan, because I'd done it so that it had a Sun Fury Plasma on the left and a Bellicosa Volcano on the right, and I had a lot of fun games. You know, we played Heresy with it, we played I think we played 8th edition 40k with it. You know, it allowed for me to be able to sort of try it out in two different games, and 8th edition was before the Imperial Armour, the current one in 2022 came, and they changed Void Shields and changed exactly what to do. So yeah, I had this Warlord Titan for the game, and I enjoyed it, you know, and I based my Adeptus Titanicus because I got a couple of the Grandmaster sets when they first came out. I got a couple of those where, you know, you got 2 Warlord Titans, you got some Knights. I think that was it, actually. Yeah, you got some Warlord Titans and some Knights in the rulebook and stuff. So for a while, Minion and I played games just with Warlord Titans, which was fun. You know, we had fun, and I think I won every game, actually. I don't think I've been undefeated yet with my Titans, which is, always nice to have. And since the game sort of developed and stuff, I took a step away. People that followed Strategic Painting on Instagram or Facebook or through the website, you'll know that I've taken sort of 2 other games and played different games from Games Workshop, including things like Horus Heresy or things like a bit of Age of Sigmar, and so I've not been solely dedicated to Adeptus Titanicus. Now, in that time, obviously, as people know, I sort of went from this traitor Astartes, playing Night Lords all the time, to then looking at Custodes, and then now Dark Angels, and it felt wrong that my Titans were on the shelf not being used, and I wondered what I could do to fix that. There are a lot of money for the Titans, so I thought, what, I'll look at converting them to the loyalist side. I'm saying it with a bit of trepidation, because can you ever convert a traitor Titan back to the loyalist side? But no, I decided that actually my love for them would be replenished again should I choose to make them into a loyalist Titan, and I did. I started with one of the Warhounds, just to give it a try and see what I thought. And I chose Legio Ignatum purely for the fact that they are the first loyalist Titan Legion, or Legio. They stand at the gates of the Eternity Gate, guarding the Inner Sanctum and the Imperial Palace. So it had to be Legio Ignatum if I was going to pick a loyalist Legio. And, I painted the Warhound Titans up, and I loved it. I've now since, as people know, and it's on the website and on our Instagram, I have now since painted up the rest of my Titans into this Legio Ignatum colour scheme. The Fire Wasps, so it's got the Hazard, the reds, the blacks, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been something that I thoroughly enjoyed, but it meant that my Titanicus stuff wasn't actually the right colours for the bigger Titans that I'd got, the 28mm Titans. So I basically said to myself, I'm going to put all the Legio Ulricon Titans, because I think I ended up getting sort of nearly 15 Titans, Warlords and Warhounds, Warbringers and Reavers and stuff for my Legio Ulricon. So I've still got this traitor army that I can use whenever, which is nice, but at the same time it was like, well, maybe I should do mini-me Titans, and I sort of I think I started with the Warlord, so Morilet ad Mortem was the first one to be converted the first one to be painted in a mini-me format, so I managed to get a Warlord Titan. I found a Lucius pattern head, because I'm fortunate enough that I've got the Lucius pattern head that was available from Forge World back in the day. It's no longer available, unfortunately. It's such a shame, that, because it's such a beautiful head, and I would put it on all of my Warlord Titans, because I think it's the coolest one. And the Lucius pattern head, I found a place to get Lucius pattern heads for Titanicus, so I've basically done it in Titanicus scale, and I really enjoyed it. I was struggling to find an idea for the base, so I thought, I'll just leave the base as black, and then they can be sort of a display piece as well as a gaming piece. So they're actually in my living room. Croydon, I don't think she minds that they're on display all the time, because she knows just how special they are for me. But basically where I'm going with this is I've actually got a mini-me for every Titan that I've got now, apart from one. Now, there is one that I haven't got yet, and it's because it's the most recent addition. It's a Lucius pattern Warhound Titan, an official one from Forge World. I was lucky enough that I found one on eBay early this year, and I spoke with the guy that was selling it. He sort of agreed to sell it a little bit cheaper, perhaps, because he knew that it was going to a good home, and I was so honoured and proud that this man had chosen kindness over sort of making a profit, because obviously you can't get the Lucius pattern anymore. So he perhaps could have said to me, oh no, on your bike, I want to get more money, but he didn't. And it is my favourite Warhound Titan, because it's my heavy pattern. I my Warhound Titans that I've got one that's a flamer, Lupus Ignis, and I've got one that's it's got a plasma gun and I think it's got a Vulcan Mega Bolter, and that's Sirius Fidelis, and both of them are cool and I love them to bits, but it was just lacking that sort of turbo laser destructor that in last edition of Horus Heresy, the D weapon, because I just wanted like a heavy titan, and I always said to myself, the Lucius patterns are the heavy titans in my force, similar to Morilette ad Mortem with his Lucius head, and Hyperion he's called. Now I kept the original name from the original guy that I bought it from, because he said to me, he called it Hyperion, and it's a Greek god that essentially, I think, in the mythology of it all, it actually means he who came before, which I thought was absolutely awesome. He who came before the Titans that I'd got. It's out of production before I even bought my first Titan. So yeah, I thought I'll keep that. That's something I'm definitely happy to honour. And yeah, I've got Hyperion, the Warhound Titan. It is actually on the Strategic Painting website and on our Instagram. So if you want to check him out, feel free to go and have a look, because yeah, it's definitely the brightest Titan with the most hazards on it, because of the way of the carapace is different to the normal carapace for the Warhound Titan. So yeah, it's basically where I went with this was it's the first Titan and the only Titan that I've got for Legio Ignatum where it doesn't have a mini-me. Now I'm hoping one day Forge World or Games Workshop are going to be doing the Lucius pattern Warhound in plastic for Titanicus, so that I can field one. They've done the Direwolf, which they sort of shoehorn these different patterns in when it suits them, so I'm hoping that we get a Lucius pattern hound sooner rather than later. Now back to Adeptus Titanicus the game, because that's what this focus is all about this week. Now I don't play as often as I'd like. I think everybody unfortunately can sort of sympathise with that. Life gets in the way. Now Minion and I have played a couple of games, like I say, I think I've won all of them, so I'm pretty pleased with that, but I am keen to get some more games under my belt, and especially playing with Legio Ignatum, because I actually haven't played with them yet. They have just been on the shelf as display pieces since I've finished painting them. So I have got the rulebook for the Loyalist Legios in front of me. Now, like I say, I've not played with them, so I don't know how good they'll be. All I know is, I just want to get them on the field. Like, they look so cool. I'm looking through some of the artworks, and the wasp striping and the reds and the deep reds and the blacks and stuff. It just makes them look so cool. Now, I did my trim silver, which I believe I should have read this up before starting recording this. I believe that meant that they hadn't suffered the loss of the Emperor being sort of the Imperial Palace being sieged, and I think it was before that, so it's sort of pre-heresy colours, and I believe the black trim is after that. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below if you know that I'm wrong and I'm sort of creating sacrilege by saying all this. Please let me know. But I believe off the top of my head that's what it means. Now, I just absolutely loved painting them up in mini-me colours. So much so that I'm actually looking to expand on. I've got a fair few Titans for Legio Ignatum. We've got Sirius Fidelis, the Warhound class, Lupus Ignis, that's another Warhound, Hyperion, so that's 3, Custos Aeternum is a Reaver, Centurion Aquilonis is a Reaver, Ignotus Gesta Olim Rex, that's a Warbringer, that one. We've got Astra Ad Afa, another Warlord, and then Morilette Ad Mortem, that's another Warlord. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Titans for Legio Ignatum, and that's in 28mm scale. Obviously with Adeptus Titanicus I can be able to actually grow that Legio and make it so it's a lot larger and cooler as well. I've also got the Nightmare Titan, Tenebrae et Spiritus. I've also got him in 28mm scale. I've got the Psi Titan upgrade kit from Forge World, and I made obviously him into a plastic variant in Titanicus scale. Now the only thing that I don't have is the weapon for the Psi Titan in 28mm scale. Again, it's another thing that I'm hunting for, for anybody who's a 3D printer. If anyone has a 3D printer and wants to print me one, then please get in touch. It's something that, I'm just keen to have him finished, basically, because he's unfinished at the moment. Having him so that he's not got his arms correctly done, it does bother me a little bit, but it needs to be sorted. So if anybody knows of anything, just give me a shout by reaching out to us through the website, or through our email or Instagram or whatever. Okay, but yeah, no. So I've got this quite cool collection. Croydon's even bought me some of the Armiger Knights for Titanicus, and I've got 2 Porphyrions. Obviously, they come in 2s for Titanicus. But I've got 1 Porphyrion in 28mm scale, so it's going to be, I'm going to be doing that Porphyrion and then having a spare one as well. So I am looking to increasing my knights for Titanicus, just so that I've got the full house that I've built through normal scales, 28mm scale. So that's something else that I'll also be adding to. But again, I'm not in any rush. I'm in a good position for sort of going through things at my own speed for Titanicus. Only things that I'm passionate about, only things that I'm super keen on doing is the thing that I'm allowed to focus on, really, because I've got the Porphyrions, they need working on, but I don't want to be doing it and then sort of resenting doing them. So it's only as and when I get the sort of love and the sort of get up and go to get them done. I haven't done the honeycomb patterns on them. I don't possess an airbrush or the skill with an airbrush. I do have an airbrush, but I use it for sort of base coating or other things, and I don't possess the skill to be able to do honeycomb patterns. And the thing is, it's said across lots of different communities, lots of different channels. It's your own collection, it's your own hobby. Do it to a level that you're happy with, and I'm happy with my Titans how they are. So, I've done sort of the hazards, I've done the red panels, and I've done some blue panels to say the Titans have fought at Ullanor and things like that. And I'm happy with how they look. I absolutely love seeing them all on the table. I've taken many pictures on strategic painting of the whole Legio, all 8 of them, 9 if you include Tenebrae Spiritus, because I just absolutely love how they look. They look amazing. So one of the things that I have looked at, though, from the Titanicus rulebook is what I would take if I was taking a maniple. What maniple would I take? The ones that stick out to me, and the first thing I'm looking for is Warlord Titan. I'm a fan of the Warlord Titan. People, if you know me or if you've listened to any of my podcast episodes, you will know that the Warlord Titan is the Titan that holds the biggest love in my heart. I think that armed with 2 Bellicosa volcano cannons is the way forwards. Anything else is wrong. I like the laser destructors on its shoulders. I think the missiles have their own place as well, but for my own personal collection, I like the laser destructors and the 2 volcano cannons. Obviously, Astra Ad Alpha, the Titan that Croydon bought me for my birthday in 2021. That one is my specialist Titan. That one's the one that has specialist weapons. So it has Mori Quake Cannon, it can have a Gatling Cannon, or it can have the Sun Fury Plasma along with the missiles on its carapace, but it also does have access to a pair of Turbo Laser Destructors. So I do actually own 3 sets of the Turbo Laser Destructors from Forge World so that I can have that. But again, in Titanicus I've only got the sort of the specialist weapons painted up ready for that Titan. So the Titan maniple that I like the most, it is the one, what's it called? It's the, I'm just trying to quickly, because I didn't highlight it. I should have perhaps put a little sticky note on it so I knew. Where is it? 3 Warlord Titans, this is it. The Extergimus Battle Line Maniple. Now, it had 3 Warlords straight away, that's something that I thought was just absolutely amazing. And then it gets the maniple trait Scorched Earth, which during the combat phase, when a Titan from this maniple makes an attack with a weapon without the melee trait, it may increase the strength value of the weapon by 2 for the duration of the attack. This must be declared before rolling to hit. If it does so, increase the Titan's reactor level by 1 or 2 if the weapon weapon has a dice value of 5 or greater in addition to any other advances associated with weapon fire. I just think it's like with Minion, especially, he sometimes favours the combat phase in games. He sometimes favours, just this sort of do or die attitude, charge forwards at all costs and get into combat, and if you're going down, I'm coming down with you kind of thing. So it was one of those ones that I thought, it's got 3 Warlord Titans in first. If he charges me, if he tries to get into combat with me, I can turn around and just go, right, that's it, you're coming down with me if I'm going down. And it just thought, it's such an awesome thing that he's got into combat with me, and I'm just like reactors to full, all the weapon power I can muster, and there you go, take that to the face. So we'll have to see how it does. Again, I've not played any games with any of the maniples. The last time we played was just the rule book was out, and we used the terminals from the box, and that was it. So looking at the book and looking at some of the rules for the special weapons, it is pretty fun to see that we're getting updates. Not regularly, I would say semi-regularly, from Forge World and stuff. And in fact, I'm recording this just after the was it the Grav Imploders from Forge World? They came out. They've just released a new set of weapons. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what they were called. I think they were the Graviton, the Grav weapons. Second, yes, it was the Graviton Ruinator, the Graviton Destructor, and the Graviton Destructor again for the Reaver and the Warhound. So yeah, it was the Graviton stuff, and I just think it's so cool that we're getting updates now semi-regularly to a game that is a specialist game. It's nice to see that they are sticking to what they've said, and I've thought about getting some of the Volkite weapons for the Warlord and for the Warhound, just to add that extra Volkite sort of to the army. The Direwolf, to me, it's not something that I'm fond of necessarily. I think I get why it's posed like that. It's supposed to be this heavy duty Warhound Titan that grips itself to the ground when it's starting to fire its gun because it's so large on the carapace. To me, it just looks a bit too sort of boxed in. It doesn't have that sort of dynamism that I see when I look at a Warhound Titan. It's not to say I won't get any, because you never know. I never say never. And I know what I'm like with my collections. I'll turn around and go, actually, yeah, I'm missing that, I need that, without even thinking about it. So there is still some additions that I can add. The Lancers, the claws, Ursus claws and stuff. And that's something that I will perhaps look at for the Warhounds down the line. But at the moment, I've got sort of 8 Titans. I do have also the large Titan, the Warmaster Titan, for my collection for Legio Ignatum. I do have one of those. I haven't actually played with that either. That was something that came out, and I bought it because it's it's a new Titan. But I never sort of really loved it. Like, it was not one of those ones that I went, oh, that is amazing. Even on the previews, I sort of said to Jarl and Minion, because we were talking while the previews were going off, I said, I like it, I think. I'm not sure. It didn't sit right with me, this sort of Warmaster that just, it felt shoehorned into the lore again. It just seemed to come out of nowhere. Now, it's a cool model. It was fun to paint. I'm glad to have one. Again, whether or not I'd use one, I don't know. I'm a fan of the Warlords with Bellicosa, and that's where my head is with it. So I know Minion is fond of the Reaver Titans, so I kind of want to see if I can take just Bellicosa Warlords and just see if I can win. If I could win against his Reavers, surely I will be able to prove to him that Reaver isn't the best class of Titan. The Warlord is. But again, it's one of those things that I need him to get his armies painted, and then I need the time to be able to get familiar with the rules, to be able to confidently put my models down on a table and go, right, let's have it, let's go. The winner takes all. This is where we have our last stand. Just thinking about it as well, it's something that they did at the beginning of this the collections, they sort of brought out the Titan transfer sheets, and they actually brought them back a few months ago, and that's something that I'm so happy, because again, it just shows and it gives me confidence that I don't have to buy everything straight away and add to this backlog. You know, I can wait, I can think. You know, the Sector Imperialis terrain, the spires and the buildings, we've got a couple because it came in the Grandmaster edition. I've not built them yet, but we do have a couple, and it's something that I'm not rushing out to go and buy. I'm not thinking, if I don't buy it, it will go and I'll lose it forever. You know, the one thing I do regret is the Forge World boards. They came and went without me really thinking that they would. The Forge World boards, I would have loved to have got a set of them. You know, I've got the Forge World boards for the old Forge World boards for 40k and 30k. So that scale ones. I've also got all the Zone Mortalis boards and lots of spares from Forge World that they used to do, because I sort of caught wind that they were going as well. So I just stocked back up. I bought an extra two packs from Forge World just before they disappeared, because I already had the 4x4 board, but then I bought 2 packs of the other sets, because I think they did bundles. So I bought 2 of those just before they went, and I'm quite fortunate that I've got a good Forge World Zone Mortalis board that we can play on whenever. But I just wish I'd got the Titanicus boards before they disappeared. If ever they came back made to order, I would be on that no matter what. You know, that's something that I would, remortgage the house, the house for getting that. That's something I'd be looking at. But no, yeah, so that's pretty much my Titanicus collection. I know I've sort of waffled on a little bit about my 28mm scale, but there's a reason why, because that's where it links through. You know, for me, it's not just about the small, tiny Titans. It is about my 28mm scale Titans as well. You know, I've based all of my Legio Ignatum Titans that are in the bookcase on display. I've based all of those on Titans that I've already got. So that's the reason why I've sort of waffled on a little bit about my Titans and about the 40k, 30k Titans that I've got. So yeah, it is exciting. I do think as well I will get I'll get all the other things for Titanicus. I am going to sort of expand that further than my 28mm scale Titans. The War Master Iconoclast is one that sort of I'm thinking about at the moment. I spoke with Jarl and Minion about it and said to them, can you take it for a Loyalist Legio? Because I didn't know at the time that you can. I thought it was just the traitor version, because I think it came out when the traitor book came out. So I've sort of linked those two in my heads without realising. So I do have also the match play guide as well, which Minion and I, and Croydon as well. I've not really talked about Croydon, but she does have a Titanicus collection of Titans that she's working on, and she has actually just said to me, I think it was earlier this week, she said to me that once she's finished her Middle-earth strategy battle game stuff, she is actually going to focus on getting the Titan stuff done, which is going to be great, because everyone knows I love Titans, and I love the sort of the world-ending power that they have and that they wield. So I'm very excited if she said to me, I've finished my Titans, let's play a game. And I've got some of the terrain, I've got some of the sort of terminals for being able to play with them, so we actually can just drop everything and play a game whenever. One thing that I do want to get is the Spires set. I do want to get those before they disappear, because if they disappear before I get some, I will be disappointed that I've missed out, because it's cool, because I got the Manufactorum Imperialis set recently. In fact, it was something that I just wanted to get the cranes, especially the cranes, because they just look cool, and they're in the background of so many different artwork styles. Seeing these cranes or these different the cylindrical buildings that they're on, sort of the generator, if you will. The Forge World board has one on. And you see them everywhere in the 40k pictures or lore or artworks, and I just thought, I'm gonna have to get that, just in case it ever decides to, if Games Workshop ever decide to get rid of it without sort of putting it as a last chance to buy, just so that I know I've definitely got it, and that's where I'm at with it. I've got Titans, I've got a plan to sort of expand it, and we'll take it from there. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I've waffled on, and I know this is perhaps one of the longer podcast episodes, but I hope you've stayed with me. I hope you've sort of listened to my ramblings, and yeah, I hope you have a great evening, morning, afternoon, night, whatever time of day that you're listening to this. I hope you have a good one, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye bye.